Hello and welcome to Seasonal Anime Impressions for Spring 2023. And right off the bat, today has probably been the worst day in American history. Not just because I had to watch seasonal anime willingly, but because Lakers are down 3-0 in the Western Conference Finals, and there has been no team in NBA history to come back from a 3-0 deficit in their position. And that is why today is the worst day in human history. So, going into this, you know the motivation, but you know, aside from most stuff, it's gonna be business as usual. Let's go over the things I look for in all these shows, and then we'll jump right into it. So, uh, first off, I look for characters and character designs because this is who you're spending hours with. You know, you'll be doing this and that. You need to be connected to them. You like their style, their clothes, personality, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is important. The next element is visuals. And, depending on who you are, this might not matter. If you don't care about animation or how a show really looks or doesn't have a coat of polish, then this won't matter to you. But I think it enhances the viewing experience. So, it's a different criteria for everybody, but usually I'm looking for a bit of polish, especially nowadays, and that's pretty much it. And the final but most important thing of everything I look for is entertainment value. If it's not fun, why bother? So, yeah, that's it. We're going to start off real nice and smooth here, sorting by start date with Tengoku Daimakyou Heavenly Delusion. Now, what's interesting about this show is that it actually has a reasonable amount of staff members behind it. Because as I recall, there is the sound the soundtrack and sound director is Kensuke Ushio, and her name she worked on the Ghibli. She was a sound director for all the Ghibli movies. It's like Erika something. Eriko Kimura, right? Uh, and I gotta say the sound design and soundtrack in this is probably the only redeeming factor in most of what I saw. But let's see what I had to say. The most glaring thing is the most glaring thing about this show right from the beginning is how awful the characters look compared to everything else. For the most part, the background art looks pretty good at fulfilling the post-apocalyptic setting, but it's like, why are our characters the most vanilla and basic people ever? There's some elements to take note of here, some strong sound elements from Kensuke Ushio and Eriko Kimura, but it's like, I could literally watch any Science Saru show and get that exact duo, because they do work together a lot at Science Saru. Also, there is just inconsistent animation techniques here that could make the show a little ugly for the eyes, especially because they try to do the cinematography stuff like zooming and panning with motion present, and it drops the frame rate hard. As for the actual content of the episode, it basically just tries to tell a dual narrative between past and present. And since I hate flashbacks, the past events always got on my nerves, especially because it's just basically Darling in the Franxx, but a little bit more happy. I don't really care either way. I don't get who the target audience is here because it's not really a pull for casual or serious watchers. It's trying to be something, but it's not really clear because they do include a lot of anime-esque character interactions and dialogue, but they don't really give off the vibe of wanting to be taken as a fun time show. So I don't know. Finish the episode, but I'm not sure if I care enough to watch another. So that passed screening. As for initial or thoughts after that, not much. I think that really there's not a lot here to work on, or there's not a lot here to go on for a viewer, but uh, could go for it, I guess. Jigokuraku, Hell's Paradise, popular show this season. Mappa taking a break from working on AOT and pretty much everything else. Uh, let's see what I had to say. I watched this in dub and I couldn't stop laughing because of how dramatic it was. I kept thinking of ways the main character would say things. Oh, here, let me reenact his voice. When I was a crack hoe, I had to suck dick 3 times a day for my fix. But as a shinobi, it was my duty. It's funny, but the show is terrible, as most people would guess. The characters look like garbage, art looks okay, and I guess it was entertaining only because I was pretty much just imitating his voice and my voice in stupid ways. Not sure how that really got around, but yeah, I'm not down to watch more of that. Finish the episode though. This is one of the few seasons where I actually finished a lot of the episodes, so it took me a long time here. Yamada-kun to level 999 no koi wo soru. Suru. My love story with Yamada-kun at level 999. Madhouse. That is disappointing. Episode 1 is named This Is Why I Can't Stand Gamer Guys, which then promptly told me this was going to be My Drive, American Psycho, Blade Runner 2049, Nightcrawler, etc. Drop in 8 minutes. There is only so much a human can take. And that's what I said. Strong start. And we have another green here. Tousouchuu, Great Mission. Run for Money, The Great Mission. I actually like this. Toei Animation. Nice and simple premise. Dude wants to save his little bro from dying, so he enters the Hunger Games. I like how straight to the point everything is, and the characters look pretty good. Reminds me a lot of something I would just randomly see on morning cartoons, so I liked what I saw. Might give this more time considering it was pretty nice. Underrated show. Not a lot of members here. Not a lot of people watching it. I would say give it a try. It was a fun time. Reminds me a lot of, waking up in the morning, eating a bowl of Lucky Charms and turning on like Bakugan Brawl or Pokemon or something. My Home Hero, Tezuka Productions. I forgot what they made. Drop. That's a lot of drop signs, so I'm not going to bother. There are some promised elements of suspense and plot threads in this quote-unquote crime thriller, but there are a lot of elements to be wary of even in episode 1. For starters, the tone of the show is completely all over the place thanks to some strange color palette choices, making a lot of the buildings and environments generally bright colored, even pink, which doesn't exactly let the characters breathe their drama. Another big thing is our main character, who is just Shimada from Sangatsu no Lion, as a father turned protective, murder-capable detective. Surely we shouldn't choose the meekest guy ever for that role, but who am I to judge? Last thing is the conceit, painfully dull, daughter getting abused, now revenge. I could watch Liam Neeson in Taken and get a much better experience. Not much here, but I did complete the episode. Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like how unusually untense it is, if that's even a phrase. Maybe give it a try, maybe not. I don't care. Boku no Kokoro no Yabai Yatsu, The Dangers in My Heart, Shin-A Animation. I really wanted to drop this show in the first minute, but I said, hey man, don't do that. Power through. So I did. Power through this absolutely awful introductory sequence, and at the 3-minute mark, I was ready to jump off a bridge. Unbearable. Can't do it. Whatever sick animal specifically devised this show to spite me has a special place in Hell's Paradise. Get it? Because that's a show in the season. You can laugh now. Ha 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 ha! Yeah, this was just painfully unfunny. I just don't know what they were thinking here at all. And Now we are on to Tensei Kizoku no Isekai Boukenroku Jichou wo Shiranai Kamigami no Shito. The aristocrat's otherworldly adventure serving gods who go too far. Magic Bus EMT squared. It's not just EMT, it's EMT squared. 8 minutes in and I realized, wait, why am I watching this? The characters look okay, art is a bit too much for me, I'm bored. So if that isn't a recipe for I don't care, I don't know what is. Thank you, past me. Next we have Kizuna no Allele, Wit Studio Signal MD. This is the Kizuna I one. 5-minute drop. It's cool that Kizuna I has her own pseudo anime thing, but it sucks. Also, for some reason, there are 2 OPs, so I ended up seeing a total of like 1 minute of content, probably. Yeah, they had this whole like Kizuna I like introductory sequence. She had like a little idol concert, and then they do another OP because the actual show is starting. So, yeah, not a lot of members here, but I guess it's like a niche fan base anyway. Loafer, Skip and Loafer. A lot of people like this show, and I just did not see the merit in it. PA works. This is like if I were to do like a second chance Wheel of Fortune type of thing. This would be pretty high on that Wheel of Fortune, but I'm just gonna change it to watching right now because I might give it another chance. But I wrote a lot here. I mean, I can deal with these pseudo friendship romance drama shows, even if it's literally the most explored genre of all time. But seriously, can we try to make the characters not insufferable? Our main girl is like, how many years has it been since I spoke to a stranger my age? Like, okay, drama queen, it's not that serious. You talk to people all the time. Some stranger is not going to make the difference. The characters and visuals look fine, I just didn't really enjoy anything going on. Also, you should read the top review on here because I think it's pretty funny. I can tell you I went to high school like maybe 3 or 4 I can tell you I went to high school like maybe 3 or 4 people on planet Earth. Oh, I have to read the review and then come back to this. Meridius Beacon says, I rarely write preliminary reviews, but I just have to this time. This anime is freaking perfect. I don't have much to say right now, but I will say what I can. The cast is perfect. They all have their own biases towards the other students, and they act like real high school kids, with their prejudices and emotions swirling around in their head, both raging and calm. The main cast of characters have their faults, secrets, and depth. Clearly more to see beyond the surface. This is certainly more certain for some than others, but I am sure we will see layers peeled back as the season goes on. It is just refreshing to see characters that behave like real kids would, on all sorts of levels. I don't want to go into specific details, but I think it's worth the wait to find out yourself. But most importantly, the show is incredibly WHOLESOME, period. I can't wait to begin reading it after the season has aired. In short, watch it. Reviewer rating 10. A 10 after 3 episodes. That's pretty bold of you. That's pretty bold. It must have really went home for you. Okay, now I can continue. I can tell you I went to high school like maybe 3 or 4 people on planet Earth. Oh. I think there's supposed to be a comma here. I think it's supposed to be just like 3 or 4 people on planet. Maybe I'm just typing in a rush in this. I can tell you I went to high school just like maybe 3 or 4 people on planet Earth, and I think that I've never seen someone literally collapse and have a flashback to everyone counting on them at home, and then find the metaphorical inspiration keep going, set to swelling music. Just me though. Ooh, shots fired at top reviewer. Though I'm sure someone's buddy Eric had that happen once or twice. By the way, if you did watch this episode, I burst out laughing during the running to school scene. Just too funny. To be fair, there are moments where I'm like, aw, that's a sweet moment. But I'm like, I'm not really a fan of the idolization of the male guy straight off the bat. And if we were really trying to create this idea of making and exploring meaningful relationships, it would be much more important to you as a viewer to watch Sangatsu no Lion. Thank you. And, maybe second chance, maybe not. Alice Gear Aegis Expansion. Studio Nomad. 4-minute drop. I have no clue what's going on, and I don't like that. Characters are okay. Visuals have this blue outline I'm not a fan of, and it's just a whatever show, I guess. Girls and gimmick. What have you done, Nomad? Not a lot that I've taken a look at, it seems. And here's like a relic of the past. Mahoutsukai no Yome Season 2. The Ancient Magus Bride Season 2. This show came out so long ago. Literally in 2017. That is such a long time ago. And now we're just getting Season 2. Like, I didn't even like this show, and I'm just confused as to why they're even making this. Actually, that makes perfect sense. I completed an episode. Apparently, I didn't drop it. It seems there's a lot here. If there was a time to do a recap episode, this would be the time because this series came out 5 years ago, man. I don't remember anything at all, but I'm gonna watch it and see what's up. The episode starts off pretty sluggishly, trying to set the stage for the season. Lots of talking, lots of empty plot thread setups, and some vague recalling of past events. The midpoint of the episode gives us a little bit more to work with in terms of entertainment, and has a large focus on giving us some unique shots to look at, accompanied by mostly playful music to create some mood. I did like that part of the episode. From a contemporary perspective, it looks like this show has really aged considering the standard at which a lot of art direction has taken these days. The quality here is noticeable, but not quite fixed on detail as some of the shows like Chainsaw Man would have been. Some studios have their quirks, sure, but it's pretty clear that most of the environment here is dated. Could be me misremembering the art of the first season as the same, but who knows? Not quite ready to pull the plug yet, but I didn't exactly have the best thoughts in the previous iteration. I'm not gonna pretend like I would watch this to its end because I did think this episode did not do anything for me. But there was the first half of season 1 that I was sort of fond of, and then it really fell apart in the second half of season 1. I just could not believe it. And I don't know. I just don't even remember what happened in season 1, so I just don't know if I can bring myself to be like, yep, I totally get what's going on here. I know Chisei's entire arc. So, whatever. Konosuba Sekai Bakuen Wo. Konosuba Explosion on this wonderful world. This is the Megumin spin-off. I was pretty excited to see this when it was announced, especially because I think they're doing a season 3 as well. They're just doing this one first. New studio, but I'm pretty sure it's just the same team. They just switch around. And I'm pretty happy with it so far. I was not happy with the first episode, I'm pretty sure, but we'll see. Visually, the style hasn't changed that much, at least if we are comparing to the previous seasons and not the movie. But even if there were a few smiles here and there, this show is lucky to have the Konosuba IP attached to it, or I would not be watching this. I have yet to enjoy a single Academy show, and I do not think this will be the first, at least in the scope of what I saw for episode 1. It was like average levels of fun, and Megumin is okay at the moment. Episode 2 is a much better explanation as what the show is actually aiming to do. It's funny, and Rie Takahashi gets to do the performance of a lifetime, but I'm still not completely sold on how effective this narrative about explosion magic is really going to pan out. Like, are we really going to wait 12 episodes for an arc solely on the fact that she will get explosion magic and then say explosion? Not too sure about that, but we'll have to see, I guess. I'll watch more. I had fun. I'm a big fan of Konosuba. I hope this one really pans out. Watashi no Yuri wa Oshigoto desu. Yuri is my job. Studio Passion, Studio Lings. Starts off a bit confused, but eventually picks up steam not too long after that. This show is actually a bit nostalgic to me because I started watching shows a bit more seriously after I saw Blend S, which this show rings to me as a bit similar. The characters are well set for me to get interested in, but I think we could have chosen some less high-pitched vocal performances here because I think it does lean on the annoying side. Concept is good, art is average, and I think we have enough here to probably stretch to a 5 out of 10 show as a baseline. Liked what I saw here, pretty average stuff, wouldn't go wrong sort of watching maybe 2 more episodes. The Idolmaster Cinderella Girls U149. Now, do not sleep on this show. I'm telling you right now, people are sleeping. They're fast asleep. They're going mimis. They're going honk shoo on this show. And I'm telling you that what we have here in the first episode is at least a bop. Okay, Side Games Pictures, good job. I cannot believe that I'm saying this, but an idol show is actually the best show of the season, and I'm taking that back. Actually, it's not the best show of the season, but it's up there. I highly recommend it. This show absolutely reeks of production quality, from design work to background, even in the smallest details. It's quite amazing to witness. There is an honest effort to capture a lot of the mundane elements that a lot of idol shows gloss over, like how the lifestyle affects people and opinions around you, or how it changes the perspective of the individual participating. I'm not going to act like this does a more fulfilling job than Perfect Blue in just one episode, but let's try to think of it from the perspective of me for a second. I have never completed a idol show, at least none that I can remember, and it is unbelievably hard to sell me on the genre, not even taking into account the route the show wants to follow. Let's talk about what I don't like. I don't like the stupid film grain they added onto the visuals because the show would look great without it. I also don't like how it's basically a band of elementary school idols, which is kind of wacky, and I guess I'm fine with that, but I'm not a fan of how they specifically make the younger spread of idols' voices extremely pitched. There's also these two idols. One has like a gyaru punk aesthetic, and the other one has a maid thing going on that really clashes with the design of the whole group. That part will probably annoy me. And one smaller gripe is that the neck shadows have this red outline on them that is just another visual distraction. But that said, this first episode sells me on a lot of promise to come. I liked what we had here. Great characters. Uh, pretty simple stuff we're getting here, but it's not like they spent the first 5 minutes introducing all the characters one by one. I think they do that at like the end of the episode, so it's better that way. But for me to recommend an idol show is not a small feat. Kaminaki Sekai no Kami-sama Kazudo. Kamikatsu, working for a god in a godless world. Studio Palette. Huh. I was sort of on board until literally the last minute of the episode where they just Deus Ex Machina and bring out God for some reason. I was really hoping this would be more of a ReZero thing where you could like slightly alter things in death, but I guess not. The characters are pretty basic, especially our everyday bro MC, but at least we have Kana Hanazawa to deadlift any scene. The cast otherwise is pretty likable, but there is something here. I didn't like where the episode went, but I'm willing to stick it out and go another. Maybe I'm too generous this season. I am pretty generous this season. Opus.COLORs. C Station. 5-minute drop. The first 2 minutes is the voice actors going, oh, eh, oh. And then after that, they assault my eardrums with this horrible electronic music. They need to get some talent from the Geometry Dash community at the least. The characters look horrible. Visuals horrible. That's about it. Kawaisugi Crisis. Too Cute Crisis. Synergy SP. 8-minute drop. Cannot deny the main girl's voice actor is trying to salvage the show here, but there's not a lot to work with. The conceit is that she's an alien sent to destroy Earth, but she discovers cute animals and now is like tsundere about destroying the planet because of cuteness. A bit of casual fun, but I didn't really feel anything coming out of it. The visuals and characters lack a lot of polish. Yusha ga Shinda. The legendary hero is dead. Leiden Films. Average characters, visuals, and slightly entertaining concept. Obviously, since I watched the entire episode, there's something here, but it's on an incredibly shallow level. Nothing here is really something I could write home about. I guess it's a fine casual watch. I didn't mind it. Wasn't good. Wasn't bad. It's just average. God damn. This title. Isekai de cheat skill wo te ni shita ore wa genjitsu sekai wo mo muso suru level up wa jinsei wo kaeta. I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too. Milpensi. This show is so dramatic, and I don't get this self-insert fat otaku theme they have running in the episode because it's just on the nose garbage. And to top it all off, we have Kirito's voice actor just spewing lifeless monologue and monologue after monologue about, oh, society this, my life sucks, guys, I'm fat, guys, could you tell? Like, no one really cares. I just don't even get the point here in making the dude fat because at the end of the episode he just he doesn't reincarnate. I messed that up. Let me change this. He just changes to become skinny and he has the exact same build as Kirito, which, you know, is ingenious on the casting team's part, but really, it's not even a coming of age, comfortable in your own skin story. It's just, yup, I'm done being fat, guys. Now I'm skinny. Lame as hell. But you know what? I am so starved for a terrible show that I might watch more. I mean, hello? Kirito voice actor plus overpowered plus potential harem. If this isn't the creator saying I miss SAO, I don't know what is. Where am I? I'm here, I think. Now, this is probably the best show of the season. Mahou Shoujo, Magical Destroyers, or just Magical Destroyers, Biberi Animation Studios. They did quintessential quintuplets and basically nothing else. This show is, you know, doesn't really have that many members. It's not very popular, but I can guarantee you this is a gem. We're looking at a dub here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about ready to jerk off whoever greenlit this show because it's just amazing that this exists. This is an original IP, guys. Original. The conceit of this show is basically otaku are being hunted down and being put in concentration camps, and there is an otaku resistance trying to save the world with the power of their passion. First off, they absolutely nailed the character designs for this show. They got great voice actors giving their all. Visually, the animation has some inconsistencies here and there, but they usually make up for it with a lot of flair and color play. The strongest element in all of this is definitely how entertaining the expressiveness of the characters is, because they absolutely carry the show from one scene to the next. A lot of great transitions between moods, but at the beginning there isn't a lot of varying environments. Easily a gem of the season. OP is great. I mean, it's basically an entire music video like the K-On! OPs. Great show. Recommend it. Please watch it. Rokudo no Onna-tachi Rokudo's Bad Girls. Saint Light Studio. 3-minute drop. I'm sorry, I just couldn't take the one dude's military beret and green shirt as his character design. Like, I've seen ROTC kids, but none as stupid as that. Like, they're in high school and this dude is just wearing a military beret and green shirt. That's his design. Like, come on, you gotta be trying harder than that. Megami no Cafe Terrace, the Cafe Terrace and its goddesses, Tezuka Productions. The main character is as blanded as it gets, but the women are hot, which is like kind of the entire point. I mean, if they weren't, I mean, if it wasn't the point, why have it be a 5-to-1 ratio? So in this stead, I think there's a serious lack of sexy time in the show, but I'm not surprised. It's not a harem show by name, but the real story they want to tell is familial bonds and stuff. You know, but I asked the question, why the need for 5 women if it's about that? Anime. That's why. It's okay. I was bored, but it's watchable. Production's fine. Characters, aka the women, are fine. Not a lot to work with here, but I mean, there was like boobs for like 10 seconds. Passes initial screening, as the kids say. Edome Elf, Otaku Elf, C2C. 7-minute drop. Got bored watching this. Pretty boring back and forth. Elfo's otaku. Girl has a stick up her butt and won't let her be one. That's it. That's the plot. Comedy slice of life. Don't care. Don't get me wrong. I like comedy slice of life, but you know. Isekai one turn kill Nesan. Ane Dohan no Isekai Sekatsu Hajime Mashita. My one hit kill sister. Gecko. Average isekai story with an average twist. Had a relatively okay time watching. Main girl is like budget Yoko from Gurren Lagann. Main dude's just a beta. Visuals vary from below average most of the time to a few well-detailed shots. They do have the stupid fake 35mm black bars going for a portion of the episode. Passes base requirements. Mashal. Magic and Muscles. A1 Pictures. That's how you know it's going to be crazy. 4-minute drop. Exposition dump to painfully unfunny jokes. Production value poo poo. Characters are who cares. Bored. Otonari no ni Ginga. A Galaxy Next Door. Asahi Production. 13-minute drop. I guess it's a kind of cute conceit. Big Bro wants to send his kids to college, but I wonder why he has to be a manga author to do so. I'm sure there's plenty of better options there. Whatever. The show is probably going to move into more romantic options later, but this starting episode isn't bad. The children, though, got on my nerves for being plot devices for the main guy. Like, shut up, little kid. You ain't know nothing, little kid. Sit your ass down, boy. If I finish the rest of the episode, I imagine it would have passed screening, but I don't have the patience. Never mind, I just skipped through the rest of the episode and it somehow now has a magical element in it, and that's stupid. You tell him. Isekai Shokan wa Nidome Desu, summoned to another world for a second time. Studio L, second time he's been summoned. So this is the second time he's been summoned to another world, and we just still have to do the boring setup mumbo jumbo. Really great writing choice there. Characters and visuals look bad, and I can foresee that I will have zero fun in the future if I watch that show. Aono Orchestra, blue orchestra, not just any color, has to be a blue one because the main character's hair is blue. Nippon animation. Can the voice actor step away from the goddamn mic? He's so close. Let's hear some emotion or any semblance of a human heartbeat. Characters garbage, art garbage, monologuing loser garbage. Jichou wo Shiranai Tenkosei ga Gui Gui Kuru. My clueless first friend. Studio Signpost. Signpost. I am really tired of these pseudo-bullying shows that just make the bullies be literally everyone in existence. It's just so unreasonably stupid that I can't take anything seriously. Especially because bullying is probably not even the main part of the show. It's probably a friendship through unlikely means type of thing. Visuals are too bright, characters look bad, bored. World Die Star, Stella of the Theater, World Die Star, Studio Lurche. 5-minute drop, decent production level, characters look okay. It's a tad too dramatic when it needs some more satirical flair. It's basically the voice actors rehearsing Romeo and Juliet from the scenes, and I saw, uh, from the scenes I saw, and I felt like it had just been so much, had been better in K-On! Boom. Take that, Studio Lurche. Screw your playwright show mumbo jumbo. Kanajo ga Koshaku te ni ita ryu. The reason why Raeliana ended up at the Duke's mansion. Typhoon graphics. 3-minute drop. No, just no. First off, the dub is horrible, but secondly, the show looks terrible. Sparse animation, main girl is ugly in both worlds, and this whole conceit of being reincarnated into a girl from a book is like, whatever. Take that, Typhoon graphics. Kimi wa Hokago Insomnia, Insomniacs After School, Leiden Films. 5-minute drop. Why does the main guy always have to be the social outcast or unliked by all type of person? Can it be the super jock that has sex with 50 girls at once guy? That would be a lot more interesting than black-haired loser MC. Just a thought. Characters poop, visuals poop. Didn't even watch until the conceit. But I'm gonna take a wild guess from what I saw and say playful romance with a hinge of supernatural mystery. Dead Mount Deathplay. Geek Toys. 4-minute drop. The music is so loud I can't even hear what they are saying in dub. This is like the first time I'm seeing this season. This sentence sucks. This is like the first time I'm seeing some heavy use of CGI. It looked terrible. But I mean, they have just no clue what they're doing either way. The show didn't make any sense, and the initial action scene is just poorly directed, so I just have no clue what the hell anything is. And I looked at his directed shows, and I wish I hadn't. It's just the director of SAO Alicization. Manabu Ono, the bane of everyone's existence. The Marginal Service. Studio 3HZ, or Hertz, as you would say in sound language. 5-minute drop. The production level is fine. The characters look pretty average, and they can see, well, I'm not really that interested in this loose cannon exiled cop thing. I should probably watch The Wire, though, if I'm really that interested. Whoopee. Oh boy. It's time. It's time. Oshi no Ko. OMG. Now, I specifically prepared this other Russell Westbrook what tab just for this moment. And this is my reaction to literally everything in the entire episode.
What?
So imagine me saying that for literally the entire episode, and that's how that went. Doga Kobo. Now, everyone and their grandmother is jerking themselves off about how good this show is, and I just don't get it. Like, I swear on Donda right now that this show makes my piss taste good. I don't know that analogy, but it makes not my piss specifically, but everyone's piss tastes like orange juice, if that's your preferred drink. Just imagine your favorite drink and imagine your piss now tastes like that favorite drink. That's what basically people are saying about this. It tastes like piss. The show tastes like piss. The first episode is like almost an hour and a half, and I wrote like an entire essay on it. So strap in because we're gonna go through the entire thing. The entire thing. Look at all this. Oh. It's been such a long time since I've done one of these. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh. All right. Start from the beginning because I did this in chronological order as I watched the episode. Basically, just walking through the entire episode. So if you haven't seen this almost hour and a half like short film, don't even bother. It's terrible. It tastes like piss. So let's start. Are you really trying to convince me that a grown man seriously considered a marriage offer from a dying child cancer patient that wants to be an idol, and then after her death, that is the catalyst for his entire fantasia regarding an idol, her name is not specifically that would have been the dead girl's age now. And to further examine this absolutely ridiculous circumstance, they add a nurse as the plot device to basically spit subtext at my eyeballs for no reason other than they think that I'm 2 years old and can't think about anything. And then, to make things even worse, they make his patient. But they bother to cover up I's face in 10 different angles because even though it's completely obvious that it's a stupid doctor that is examining her, I can only imagine what the room was like when they were deciding to basically mask her appearance so the audience wouldn't know it was her. And here's a little dialogue I wrote for the writer's room. Oh, I've got it, guys. We could just make the camera hit her back, at the top of her head, which has a hat, and from the bottom of her chair, so the viewer can't tell. Yuck, yuck, yuck. But, sir, what about her undeniably long purple hair that was literally seen 2 minutes ago? And, the entire crux of why the doctor and nurse had a conversation at all? Who cares about that? They will think it's awesome that it's him that is her doctor. But why are you why are you playing coy for 30 seconds for no reason? Who do you think you are? Miyazaki? Get the hell out of here. You're fired. Like that? Like that? I've been working on my dialogue. I'm going to Hollywood. I'm going to Hollywood. And then the dude has, oh, forgive me, I use caps here, so I have to talk in caps. And then the dude has an existential crisis because his favorite idol won't be standable anymore. Like, are we serious with this? Like, are we really serious with this? I just know I'm not in real life anymore. He can't stand his idol because she's pregos at 16 years old. No, that's the serious moral conundrum. And then, of course, main dude and I have to have a heart-to-heart regarding the idol reality and its consequences. Like, I actually want to hear this 2-minute dialogue. There's so much talking in this show. They just don't stop talking. They never stop. It's just, oh, you want to hear how I farted this afternoon and had explosive diarrhea? I just can't tell. They just never stop talking. Okay, let's pause for a second and try to actually analyze if this is BS or not. In a scene after the monologue, our main dude says, "Lies are love. I've come to see that phrase in a good light. Stars are truly amazing." I know goosebumps just went on. Oh my god, that was ice cold. Ice cold. Goosebumps are just on your arms right now. You just can't believe it. Your gritted teeth are like, "Oh my god. Oh my god, that was cold. Cold MFR." Now I know how Samuel L. Jackson felt in Pulp Fiction. That guy's cold. The whole notion that an idol's life is essentially a lie is the most childish and, well, no shit Sherlock assumption ever. And I don't need the idol herself to bring that realization on myself, the viewer, and for the main character just to reach this realization after years of following the culture. It's just not even reasonable that he can come to this conclusion that they are lying about the show they are putting on for the world for a positive reason. Like, dude, do you think this guy just graduated preschool? He's a doctor, a PhD. This guy went to medical school, graduated, head of a department job at a hospital, and you're telling me he just came to the realization that idols might be lying out of a love for many things, whether arbitrary or not. Wow. Thank you for enlightening me, I really appreciate it. Stars are truly amazing. Ice cold. I need my bad MFR wallet right now. I am also not in love with this Rie Takahashi performance. Either she is not right for the character or she is just not flexing a range of emotions that I think should be flexed, because what she offers in this role is really not much. The cutesy, playful girl character she plays here is literally the exact same thing she does in every show. At least in Konosuba and Genshin Impact, she sounds like she's having the time of her life. But like, you could literally toss in anyone who fills this exact same niche, and it would be the exact same caliber of mid. The show would be exactly the same. And then the main guy gets killed. Didn't see that one coming, considering the name of the show and every single hint that is reiterated in 50 lines of dialogue from the main people, supporting people, and the extras. Like, oh, what it would be like to be Idol's child. Oh my god, LMAO. Like, dude, stop it. To top it all off, yes, sir, you guessed it, the sappy flashbacks to the scene we just saw 5 minutes ago. Yes, sir. This was really heartbreaking and changed my life. Thank you so much for showing me the scene I just saw. I just saw the scene, and you're flashing back to a scene I just saw 5 minutes ago. Like, oh my god. I just saw the cancer kid 2 seconds ago. And then the main guy is reincarnated as the idol's kid. Like, dude, whoa, shoot me, please. I'm just ready to jump off a bridge. I don't really get why the voice actors also had to swap, like that really made a difference when it's literally internal dialogue for 10 years. It's just internal dialogue. Would it not make sense that he retained all his memories and everything, that he would have the same voice internally? Like, they just changed the voice because he's in a new body when he literally speaks in his old voice and then randomly switches to a new voice in that body. It just swaps randomly. I don't know if anyone noticed that, but he talked in his regular voice and then just swapped to a new voice while in the new body. Whatever. And you know what's cute? They color coordinated their names to what color pajamas they have, so that you know which one is which. Frankly, I'm blind, deaf, and mute, so I literally couldn't tell which baby was which. So thank you. Pink is for Ruby and blue is for Aqua. Thank you for telling me that. If I am in a coma, please send a sign. Please send a sign right now. Cut to the rehearsal. I'm not really sure how these shows manage to make every single production member a demon of some sort with no justification as to why. Other than that, they need to develop viewer anticipation or sense of understanding of the industry, at which making everyone just say random comments about idols or idol work is just not the way to do it. What I suggest is they do the Sangatsu no Lion route. And if you've seen Sangatsu, you remember the shogi matches where they would have a separate room where the extra players would just gather and commentate shogi from there, and actually provide some insight into what we're seeing on screen. That's a bit more akin to what I think is the right move and actually makes sense for their comments to exist in that space. Whereas just taking random voice lines from NPCs is just lazy characterization when there are literally more characters to explore. It's the first episode. There's so much you could do, especially in almost an hour and a half, man. 4 episode lengths. Rakugo Shinju also did this thing where the audience has a commentary, which ties directly into the feelings or performance of a performer sometimes. It would make them sweat when someone said something harsh, or make them tone back the dramatization of a performance. Things like that have a direct impact are felt more strongly by a viewer because it changes like the actual course of a scene or a show. Empty comments like this are just stupid. Like, I get they want to do industry commentary or build like a sense of reality, but like, we aren't Shirabaku here. You're just not going around about it in the right way. As for the little baby at this moment, he's just cuck held in the apartment watching. I don't exactly understand his whole purpose here, other than to give us an excuse to look at her career from his perspective for really no reason. If the focus is it would really just make sense to follow her career until this point, and then have this side plot of her harboring like 2 twin children, and make it a plot twist or something. Like, I don't know. They're just making him sit and watch. It's just like an excuse to change environments because they don't want to stay in her perspective so long. The main guy at this point had no personal characterization to speak of, and he has no real personality other than that he likes I. That is literally it. He likes I, and that's it. What's even more insane is that this dude said he's actually grateful to have been brutally murdered so that he can see I in this way. Like, are we serious? Am I in a simulation? Is this real? Like, this doesn't even make sense later in the episode. He's glad he got brutally murdered, and then at the end of the episode, this motivation is not gonna make any sense at all. I guess it's relevant to mention the actual antagonist of this plot, which is just the obsessive loser and his mom's basement guy that killed main guy. Now, I'm not too familiar with this particular culture, but I think that Perfect Blue gave me a pretty decent impression of the horrifying reality of these obsessed people. So I'm just thinking they really jumped the gun by giving this guy in particular characterization, and going as far as murder, giving him a murder thing and giving him dialogue to let the audience know his mindset. I think the ambiguity of Perfect Blue is what made the film so incredibly tense and unsure of the extent of the stalker's emotions. We did see the environment he lived in, which is similar to what we see here, but we never really get to see anything beyond his rather disgusting appearance, which really makes it a bit more menacing in Perfect Blue. Our main bad guy here looks like a scrawny Japanese dude with darks under his eyes, which is really not that scary. It's the most basic character design for most hikikomori characters. Like, we're not doing anything special here. And his character design is like he has a hood over his head, and that's what makes him him. Okay. 30-minute mark here for the episode. And thoughts on the macro scale so far. Production level's fine. Character designs need serious work. Concept is terrible, and it's just mildly entertaining. Like, I just don't see any merit so far. I feel like the actual story they want to tell is just reality, which is fine. You can do that in a show, but it's clear that the people making this show didn't have the inspiration to creatively allow themselves into storytelling over episodes, and instead just want to blurt out random industry facts or have entire scenes dedicated to industry stuff because that's just what this feels like. Just they're not really turning the facts into narrative here. You just want to show us how hard it. Here's an example. You want to show us how hard it is to produce animation cuts. Shirabaku has an entire episode dedicated to having the main girl run all over town and show you how hard it is to find a person to key animate. You can't expect the viewer to take in information as it's coming and be like, wow, idols really don't make that much, guys. As you can see, marketing, blah, 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 they can't go on solo. Like, the entire show up until this point is nowhere even close to bringing the viewer into a good narrative point to iterate this stuff. Really bad pacing here. 40-minute mark, we just forgot about Stalker Guy, give him some space to breathe. At this point, I was thinking this guy is just absolutely useless, and he's probably gonna come at the end of the episode. After that, it's pretty much more industry commentary, at which now I'm a believer that this would work better as a live action documentary that went over stats and performances from the past, because there really isn't entertainment value here as a spectator to the little kid and the sister. Like, this stuff is happening, some character will explain what's going on. That's what you feel like. You feel like you're in the cuck chair right now. As a viewer, and the little kid and the little girl at the 40-minute mark it's just cuck chair. 50-minute mark, and I have another recommendation for Babylon from Damien Chazelle because it's a lot more artistically driven on industry practice, and it's a lot more entertaining and enlightening than Oshi no Ko in this stead, if you want something a bit more stimulating. I'm glad Lil Bro has finally had a little bit of characterization, even if it's pretty shallow. The heart-to-heart with the director after he did his acting scene was pretty sweet, but it's not like really anything happened at the end of the day. Just more fuel to the fire, trying their damnedest to not introduce a centralized plot 55 minutes in. That's what I didn't get, really. We're 55 minutes into the episode, and there's really no central thing going on. It's just like we're going scene to scene, just doing stuff. And we're just trying to slowly characterize these guys, but that's not how you do it. You don't just put them in stuff. You have to like make it relevant to what's going on. Like none at the end of the episode, at the climax of the episode, nothing in the episode before it had any effect on what had happened in that moment because she just randomly decided to hit the boy up. Just nothing correlated there. So the entire episode before the end of the episode was irrelevant, completely irrelevant. They go and characterize little sis next, and she had a much better moment with that made a lot more sense. Even if I thought the flashbacks to her cancer lifestyle were a bit too dramatic, since I don't recall Lil Bro getting that full treatment. I mean, it's okay to use the past as a narrative push, but it's a bit exploitative considering her inability is purely due to cancer, and they really want to hit you on the nose and say, "Oh, guys, it's directly related. She had cancer, and that's why she can't do this." Like, it's a bit much. Finally, they top it off with Ai getting some characterization, helping us understand the circumstances of her reason for becoming an idol and such. It's not the cutest thing ever, but it does its job. And I'm starting to get annoyed at how much she describes her work as lying. This whole theme of being a liar in various ways does not ring with me at all because she uses this metaphor or theme or whatever to describe a million different scenarios. Do you remember how in The Batman they would just use the main track in every single scene to accentuate anything remotely actionable? This is what it feels like. I just don't get why people would do that. It's not a apply all to everything. Just don't do that. They try to cover this lying thing and give it some justification. I don't get it. I don't get it. At at the end of it, we finally come full circle to Lies Are Love, from earlier, and most of the dialogue is just really forgettable, and I really don't care. It's a lot of internal monologue. It's a lot of just empty metaphors and empty themology. Like, they're just saying things to say stuff, really. Like, does anyone really remember what she said? No, I just watched the episode. No one remembers what they said. To nobody's surprise, the stalker guy is the dude that. Oh, I guess I. Well, at that point, I thought he was the dude that knocked her up. She's not. Uh, well, I mean, I'm not gonna change it now, but at this point in the episode, I thought that the stalker dude was the guy who knocked her up, and also something just unbelievable is that he's wearing the exact same clothes from years ago. Like literal 5 years ago. He's wearing the same exact clothes. Like what? Like a billion years have passed and you're wearing the same exact hoodie and pants and like, dude. They couldn't even fix that? Like, what? I'm not saying he has to attend drip camp and come out swagged out and supreme and bape and like have his 350s all clean. Like, really? He has to wear the exact same thing because we can't recognize who's at the door? Just so lazy, man. I saw this twist coming from a mile away because why would he forget about him? He's just the parent. Uh, Jesus Christ, forgive me, I'm about to jump off a bridge. And not even that, their idea of a plot twist literally involves the most basic presentation of all time. They hit you with the happy fun times flashbacks to when I had my first poopy in the toilet, when I saw Django Unchained, and then it just cuts to I dying in the most basic way possible. Like she got killed by Stalker Guy. Oh no. But they had the happy reminiscent music playing and the flashbacks. Oh, you can't forget the flashbacks. How could you? Even in her dying breaths, Ai has to monologue about her terrible philosophy, and we get to bear witness to one of the most laughable deaths in human history. Like, I want to know who did not see this death coming. Like, I know I got the stalker guy being the parent wrong at this point in the episode, but I saw this death coming. It was not like unclear. They were just going to do a perfect blue, and then this time it was going to be successful because this boring ass show needed something to stir it forward for 11 more episodes. Like, there's no way I was going to live. We need people that didn't get it to reattend preschool and learn context clues again because apparently people don't know why the square block doesn't go into the triangle block or then triangle hole. You know, I just thought it was pretty clear that this happy-go-lucky lifestyle was going nowhere. This episode is an hour and a half for a reason. They were building up for some ridiculous climax, and this was it. Like this is basically all that I could think of. Like she's gonna die, or one of them's gonna die again, and it's gonna become like a reincarnation story. Maybe she comes back by the end of the series. Maybe like she like grew up, and she's like a little bit younger, but he's like, guys, I'm back. I mean, obviously magic exists in this universe, so why not? Uh, if they cut between episodes, there's no unexpectedness, but I really think their big mistake was the interlude with the stalker guy at his computer ranting about nothing. That was to me like, well, they're probably gonna go perfect blue at some point in this short film. Also, what's with like the quick abdominal aorta line when she was stabbed? I was thinking about that. I'm like, why did he say that? Is that the reason they made him a doctor was to build up to that one scene where she's stabbed in the abdominal aorta and he's like, "Oh my God, that's a bad thing, guys. Viewer, abdominal aorta. I hope you know what that is. That's a bad thing." Like, I'm pretty sure the viewer understands that she's stabbed. That's a bad thing. I don't need to know it's the abdominal aorta. Thanks for clarifying, but I could tell it's serious, guy. I could tell. Like, did they take me for a fool? Like, I swear, this show assumes that I'm actually in preschool. Like, I don't get it. I just couldn't take her that seriously at all because, one, she had to be in searing pain, right? But she wasn't, obviously. But also because they're just trying to cover the bases and make it drawn out as possible for drama purposes. Like the death scene lasted like 3 minutes of her just talking. Something about like being stabbed and having a speech about, oh, what if someone I wanted to see you with your backpacks. I wanted to see when you had your first poo poo and you're not in your diaper. Like, uh, it's just so unserious because like they're like huddled around her like little children covered in blood, and they're like expecting you to cry, I guess. It's not sappy, it's not like a heart-wrenching moment. It's just like I I I just don't see it. I just don't see the vision. I'm sorry. I know through the gritted teeth a lot of people would not really like my opinion. I mean, let's try to calm ourselves and think about how Doga Kobo just played you like a fiddle. If you were truly heartbroken and didn't see that coming, I actually do envy you. because I just didn't see it. I envy someone who did not see that in a million years because the shock factor is just not there at all. They even like did it slowly. They didn't even do it like instantly. You know how like it's an instant gratification in like a lot of Martin Scorsese movies where they just kill people. You know, like in Goodfellas, they'll just kill people, and there's sort of no build up. There's a build up. Like the stalker guy, you know when she opens the door, like, yep, the stalker guy's there, and like it takes like a full like minute for her to die or like for her to get stabbed. Like I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming before he opened the door or she opened the door, and I also knew because like they took their sweet time just building that moment for no reason instead of just like stabbing her straight up when she opened the door. Whatever. The aftermath of the scene is also quite boring. A lot of tears, a lot of ranting about the dangers of fandom and internet. Tone of the show changes. That's about it. That's basically like the entire prologue until I was met with a devastating reality. I was met with something devious, disturbing, something so forced I could not have thought of this in a million years. I literally was that person who did not see it in a million years. The worlds have aligned. Universes are colliding because I just did not see this plot point coming from any direction. My ears were being assaulted. The main dude turns the show into a mystery thriller. What?
This one.
What?
What? Mystery thriller? What? He wants to get revenge? Why? Why this route? There is literally no characterization at all that suggests that he has this detective or revenge or this anything inside of him. This is something you could not possibly see coming because it doesn't exist. This doesn't exist. I am just so unbelievably amazed that this is where they're going with it because it just doesn't make any sense. Why would this be a mystery thriller? In what universe is this a mystery thriller? Shell-shocked is the word that I'm looking for here. I am blown away at the genius that I'm looking at here. Genius. If you wanted me to describe this show in one sentence, I would say this show is a bunch of Redditors flexing their Japanese idol industry knowledge, but they realized no one would give a rat's ass about what they know, so they tried to make the most complicated and trite narrative to complement their mommy fetish, diaper fetish, age regression fetish, idol fetish, murder fetish, obsession fetish, pregnancy fetish, misanthropy fetish, etc. Misanthropy. But it's not fair. 9.03, man. Are you guys do you guys need help? Do you guys need help? What are you smoking? I want some of it. I want some I need some of what you guys are smoking because I just don't get it. I don't get it. You guys are on the finest crack the Reagan administration has ever put out, and you're not sharing it with me. You're not sharing this crack. It's just not fair. Please share the crack pipe before it's too late. Yeah, so I dropped it, and that's it. Next show, Pokemon 2023. Pokemon 2023. OLM. 5-minute drop. Slow. Really slow. Ash is already at Professor Oak's house and is already battling Pidgey by the 5 minute mark. So yeah, I'm not really into Pokemon anymore. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not really into the show. Naihime Tokemono no O, Sacrificial Princess and King of the Beasts, JC staff. Kana Hanazawa's on the product, but it doesn't matter. The show sucks. The show is kind of creepy in a Beauty and the Beast type of way, but the girl is a child sacrifice and is also a grown man marrying a child. Kana Hanazawa characters look okay for what they are. Visuals are pretty average. This is just not a gimmick worth investing into either way because these characters ended up at the end of the episode in a weird way. All right, and that's gonna do it for spring 2023. Let's get some final thoughts, talk about some recommendations, and we'll wrap this thing up. But let's watch this clip one more time, cause just so amazed, so amazed. This one.
What?
Okay. I didn't come in. Don't ignore that. I didn't even finish Hikari no O yet, or have no intention. I don't know. Isekai cheat skill, no go. Uh, Kaminaki, no go. I'll recommend Konosuba. Mahou Shoujo Magical Destroyers as the best show of the season. I'm not gonna recommend Ancient Magus Bride. Not gonna recommend the Cafe Terrace. I'm not gonna recommend Skippin' Loafer. Not gonna recommend Heavenly Destruction or whatever it's called. I'll recommend Idolmaster, and I'll slightly recommend Run for Money here. Not gonna recommend this other cafe show, Watashi no Yuri, and I'm not gonna recommend Yusha Gashinda. So there are your three recommended show. But let's keep it real here. This is probably the best season of the decade. And I'm not even being ironic. This season, by far, has had the most shows of this decade that passed initial screening. Like, I'm not even being really generous in a lot of these shows. I just genuinely finished the first episode of all these shows, and I'm like, this is probably a show that passes screening. But just because they pass screening doesn't mean like I'm like obligated to watch more. I'm just saying they're they're above the Call of Duty here. They're doing something that isn't necessarily breaking mold, but they're doing something that is at least watchable. And sometimes that's all you can ask for. So let's count how many shows made it past screening, because this might be a new record. I'm gonna be real. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 shows made it past screening. That is absurd. Tell me that's absurd. So you have plenty to watch this season. I'll tell you that. Definitely not Oshi no Ko though. I would rather do a lot of things than watch Oshi no Ko. I mean, I need to put more time into Tears of the Kingdom. Like I could have played an hour and a half of Tears of the Kingdom instead of watching Oshi no Ko. But alas, the world has gifted me with a new dawn. Lakers in 7. Peace.